Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christina. I'm an intuitive reader and we are back for another reading. And this reading is for Tormod. Thank you so much for your patience, Tormod. I hope you are well. Thank you for being open to me reading you. I'm going to pick from the Osho Zen tarot. Just because I feel like this deck is a little more grounded, a little more substance to it, which is you. So yeah, I've already shuffled a bit, so I'll just pick your card here, Tormod. Ooh, look at that one's kind of open. Okay, let's do one more shuffle. There was a card turned. Okay, here we go. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm like, huh? Okay. This is your card. So, oh, this is your card. What a beautiful card. Integration. So this is like that point of like a complete, it's like coming full circle. It's like the end but the beginning, you know? It's like full circle, full like completion, like it's like a fulfillment point. It's like, you know, it's like a complete circle. It's like the cycle has fulfilled itself. The cycle has completed. The point has been walked. Integration. The word wholeness comes up, and balance also, and maybe that's the point here. You see the face? There's a balance point here. It's like integrating the 2 points, balancing the 2 points, and you know, the process that we've walked over the last decade. What I see here is that point of balancing the inner and the outer world, realizing it's the same thing, realizing that one is not more or less than the other. Both are beneficial and needed. Like the inner creates the outer, and the outer allows us to reflect and see ourselves on who we are on the inside. It's like there is this mutual relationship that's happening. There is a mutual exchange happening. Both parts are being are benefiting from the 2 parts. So it's like that point of balance. It's like recognizing and cherishing both aspects as equally valid. One is not more or less than the other. But my question here is one the source of the other? Like, you know, the inner, from my perspective, is the source of the outer, but not to say that one can't reflect and see who they are from the outside in, you know? So I just think it's that point of the balance point, like the yin and the yang. It's like there's duality, there's polarity, there's the masculine, there's the feminine, there's the hot, the cold, the day, the night. There are these 2 poles that happen, that are existent. And it's that point of recognizing both are actually the same thing. They're of the same source. They're of the same design. And so realizing that one isn't more or less than the other, they're just the same thing. And so being able to recognize the value in each of them and how they can manifest and be expressed in life in a way that serves what's best for all. And I think it's that balance point. It's not having too much of this or that, but recognizing it all as one thing. Yeah, and it also brings up this point of like the fact that there is actually one truth. People can experience that truth differently, but there is only one reality in which who we are is who we really are. You know, it's like there's this point of like, there is a source, origin, cause of who we are. There is like a starting point. There is a seed. There is a beginning, I guess. There is a point in which we are all the same thing. And it is the expression of who we really are. And so there is that point of that's the one truth. That is the one reality. How we experience that, how we perceive that, how we live that can be different, can be a range. You can see the expression of life. It is vast. It can express itself in so many different ways along the spectrum of the 2 poles, you know? But it's like who we really are, what is our true expression, what is the real reality. It's like there is just that one reality. There is that one truth. I saw an image one time on TikTok, and it was like an image of two people who were both seeing something from a different perspective, and it was like, this is their truth and this is their truth, but then like you saw it from the outside of like what they were looking at, and it was like, this is the one truth. So there's like your truth and my truth, but then there's the one truth that we both exist within, you know? Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's that point of like, you know, you're home now after living in the Camp Hill for so long, and like coming full circle. It's that point of like coming back to yourself. It's like going out and doing this long journey and exploration and experience and having this life you create, and then coming back to where you started from and seeing who you are now, and seeing the changes, and seeing maybe some similarities, and maybe seeing things you used to take for granted, or seeing like, you know, it's just like that point of like coming full circle. And there's this point of like acknowledging your journey and celebrating all you've accomplished and what you've been through and what you've done for yourself and in the name of what's best for all is like truly remarkable and truly amazing. And yeah, to me it's the oneness point comes up here of like, you know, everything is just one thing. Everything's just one thing, and it expresses itself very differently, but it's like that's why our judgments and our ridicule and our blame and like all that stuff, that's why we know it does no good, because it's all just one thing, you know? And to see something as separate is to be in separation, you know? Like life, the one reality is that there is just one thing, and so to see anything as separate from us is to separate ourselves as life, and then we see the consequences of what happens when we see ourselves as separate from life. So the integration point could be that, you know, really integrating this point of like, there is just one thing here, Tormod, and it is you. It's just you, and it's just me, and we're just one thing. And we have manifested ourselves in these two different expressions that can interact and engage and communicate and reflect with and reference and cross-reference with. And like, that's the really cool part of this one thing, is that it can express as you and it can express as me, and then it can learn about itself even further with, you know, this engagement. Yeah, so that's so cool. Yeah. Okay, nothing else is coming up, so let's read the book definition. Okay, so the book definition says, okay, the image of integration is the unio mystica, the fusion of opposites. This is a time of communication between the previously experienced dualities of life. Rather than night opposing day, dark suppressing light, they work together to create a unified whole, turning endlessly one into the other, each containing in its deepest core the seed of the opposite. Oh, I love that. The eagle and the swan are both beings of flight and majesty. The eagle is the embodiment of power and aloneness. The swan is the embodiment of space and purity, gently floating and diving upon and within the element of the emotions, entirely content and complete within her perfection and beauty. We are the union of eagle and swan, male and female, fire and water, life and death. The card of integration is the symbol of self-creation, new life, and mystical union, otherwise known as alchemy. The conflict is in man. Unless it is resolved there, it cannot be resolved anywhere else. The politics is within you. It is between the two parts of the mind. A very small bridge exists. If that bridge is broken through some accident, through some physiological defect or something else, the person becomes split, the person becomes two persons, and the phenomenon of schizophrenia or split personality happens. If the bridge is broken and the bridge is very fragile, then you become two. You behave like two persons. In the morning you are very loving, very beautiful. In the evening you are very angry, absolutely different. You don't remember your morning. How can you remember? Another mind was functioning. How can you remember? Another mind was functioning, and the person becomes two persons. If this bridge is strengthened so much that the two minds disappear as two and become one, then integration, then crystallization arises. When George Gurdjieff used to call the crystallization of being is nothing but these two minds becoming one, the meeting of the male and the female within, the meeting of the yin and the yang, the meeting of the left and the right, the meeting of logic and illogic, the meeting of Plato and Aristotle. I love that because it just brings up that point of like polarity, duality. It's not a bad thing. It's just the range in which exists in life, you know, the male and the female, light and dark, up and down, night and day, you know. It's like, it's just a contrast of points that exist, and you know, it's like, it's just beautiful because it's all one thing expressing itself in such a vast array of different expressions. It's so beautiful. One thing can express itself as an eagle and a swan, and it can encompass all the experiences that we have in this life. It's just amazing. So anyways, another point that came up while I was reading that was that integration point of you. I know that you've walked a long process with your schizophrenia and mental health, and it's like you've bridged those 2 points, that split mind, that split personality. You've bridged the point and you have become one, and there is a wholeness that is like, you can't deny it in your expression. There is a wholeness, there is a groundedness, there is a stability, there's a sturdiness, there is like a deep rootedness, and it's just like really been such a privilege and a blessing to witness over the years, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to see that, because you're just, it's like you're a miracle, and you taking responsibility for your life and bringing yourself back to yourself and creating that wholeness and fulfillment that you are now is just amazing. It's like, that's that point of coming home and coming full circle and realizing that you are actually whole and here and perfect, and it's amazing, Tormod. So thanks so much for letting me read you. I hope this resonates. Let me know if you have questions or concerns or want any clarification, but I'd love to hear if you have anything to share about this particular point. I'd love to hear from you on that. So thanks for walking with, and thanks for being open to me reading you, Tormod. Take care. See you soon.